It was just another political event. Cameras flashing, journalists waiting, the world watching. But then, a small voice echoed through the grand hall. A 10-year-old boy, standing fearless in front of the most powerful man in the world, asked a question that made Donald Trump pause. The air grew heavy. Silence fell over the room, and when Trump finally answered, no one was prepared for what he said. What was the question? And why did it leave the world speechless? Stay with us as we uncover this shocking moment. Donald Trump stood at the podium, addressing a packed hall. Flashing cameras, the murmur of journalists, and the occasional cheer from supporters filled the air. The event was routine. Another speech, another round of questions. But no one knew that this would be the moment that history would remember. Then, amid the sea of adults, a small figure raised his hand. A young boy, no older than 10, stood up, his face filled with determination. His name was Ethan Parker, a bright, curious child whose words would soon capture the world's attention. "Mr. President, I have a question." The room quieted. All eyes turned toward the child. Trump, caught off guard, smiled slightly and leaned forward. "Go ahead, kid," he said, expecting a lighthearted question. But Ethan's next words were anything but lighthearted. And in that moment, everything changed. Ethan took a deep breath. The tension in the room was thick, the cameras zooming in on him. "Mr. President, my dad lost his job last year. My mom works double shifts, but we're still struggling. You said you'd help families like mine, but why does it feel like we're being forgotten?" A hush fell over the hall. Even the journalists, trained to stay neutral, exchanged glances. It wasn't just a question, it was a challenge, a direct, honest confrontation from a child who had nothing to lose. Trump's expression changed. He shifted uncomfortably, gripping the podium. The audience waited. Would he dismiss the boy? Would he give a diplomatic answer? Or would he finally say something that no one expected? What he said next sent shockwaves across the world. A long pause followed Ethan's question. It was the kind of silence that made people uneasy. Trump, known for his quick and often bold responses, didn't speak right away. For a brief moment, his usual confidence wavered. His fingers tapped against the podium. His gaze flickered to the journalists, then back to the boy. Finally, he exhaled and leaned into the microphone. "That's a tough question, kid." The room remained still. People expected him to move past it, to shift the focus back to policies or statistics. But then, he did something unexpected. "What's your name?" "Ethan." "Sir." "Ethan, tell me about your dad. What did he do?" The boy hesitated. "He worked at the steel plant, sir. They shut it down last year, said they were moving jobs somewhere else." A murmur spread through the crowd. It was a real issue, one that hit home for many Americans. And now, standing before the President of the United States, a 10-year-old had just forced the entire country to confront it. Trump nodded slowly. His usual bravado was replaced with something different, something rare. "You're right to ask that, Ethan. I promise to help families like yours. And maybe we haven't done enough. Maybe we need to do more." The reporters froze, Trump admitting, a shortcoming? That wasn't something they expected to hear, but he wasn't finished. "Your dad, he's not alone. I've met so many hard-working men and women in the same position, and I'll tell you this, I don't like losing, and America shouldn't be losing jobs like this." He turned to his team sitting behind him. "Find out what happened to that steel plant. Get me answers." A ripple of shock spread through the room. Was this just a political move? Or did a child's question genuinely shake something inside him? Ethan's eyes widened. "Do you mean it, sir?" Trump nodded. "You came here looking for answers, kid. You deserve them." The audience erupted in applause, but no one could predict what was about to come next. The media exploded. News stations played Ethan's question on repeat. Social media buzzed with debates. Some praised Trump's response, others called it a carefully planned moment. But in Ethan's hometown, the reaction was different. His family received phone calls. Some were supportive, others were angry. "Why'd you have to embarrass the president like that?" one caller sneered. Another said, "You think one question is going to change everything? Wake up, kid." Ethan's mother, Lisa, gripped his shoulders. "No matter what people say, you spoke the truth, and that matters. But truth comes with consequences, and soon they would face the biggest one yet." Days later, reporters showed up at Ethan's home. The White House had indeed launched an investigation into the steel plant's closure. And what they uncovered was shocking. The plant wasn't just shut down, it was forced to shut down. A private deal had been made between certain government officials and foreign investors. Jobs weren't lost by accident, they were sold. The story spread like wildfire. Protests erupted, people demanded answers, and at the center of it all was a 10-year-old boy who simply wanted to know why his father lost his job. One evening, the phone rang. Lisa answered, expecting another journalist, but the voice on the other end made her freeze. "This is the White House. The president would like to speak to Ethan." Ethan took the phone, his hands shaking. "Hello?" Trump's voice came through. "Ethan, you asked me a question. Months passed. Lawsuits were filed. Some politicians resigned, and then the steel plant reopened. Ethan's father, along with hundreds of others, got their jobs back. It was a victory no one had expected. At a special ceremony, Trump invited Ethan's family to the White House. Cameras flashed as he shook Ethan's hand. "You challenged me, kid, and I'm glad you did." Ethan grinned. "So am I, sir. And now I have one for you. If I fight this, if I go after the people who did this, will you stand with me?" Ethan swallowed hard. He was just a kid. But in that moment, he understood something powerful. "Yes, sir. Then let's get to work." The White House launched a full-scale investigation. Names were named. Corrupt officials were exposed. Some powerful people weren't happy. They tried to discredit Ethan's family, digging into their past, twisting the truth. But something incredible happened. The people fought back. Ordinary citizens, workers, and families rallied behind Ethan. He had become a symbol, proof that one voice could make a difference. And Trump? He didn't back down.